Hi. So these are all my babies. Tanya, Parul, they're all my bachas. And they have, with dedication, studied whatever they needed to study to keep themselves in good place. So thank you, Parul, for accepting my invite at a very short notice. Today, actually, at the second session was supposed to be with another speaker. I made a big boo-boo. I gave her date for 14th in my mind, but I actually gave her date of 16th. So I had no other speaker and I panicked last minute yesterday. The promos were up, everything had gone up, and two of very gorgeous people, Parul and Kiran, both agreed to, to come in and help me out. So thank you so much at very short notice to kind of take care of everybody. Parul, this is very important forum, that a very important step in my life for you, not for you just, it's like you're going to be connecting to the part of the audience that I don't connect with, because I don't meet them every day. I don't know what's going on in their life every day. I'm so on the other side. I'm 50 plus, I'm on the other side. You're just 20 plus on the other side, a student. And so your contribution to this platform is amazing and is going to be amazing. So thank you so much. So for everybody, I met Parul about 3 years back, Parul.
Yes, ma'am.
3 years back, she came in my life to study under me. I'm very, very fond of her. I'm just not somebody who picks up the phone and talks to people. And that's always been something that people have had a complaint, including my husband. It was a grooming that we got from our childhood. My father, when he would go for his job, if my mother would call him up, there would be a fight at home. So bad it would be that my mom wouldn't ever give him a call. There were times when he could be away for a week and we didn't know where he was because he wouldn't pick up the phone. We wouldn't give him a call. He felt like, he was working for government of India and maybe he was a spy. In reality, he was none of that. But he was so dedicated and such a workaholic, so committed to his work, that at his workplace, he did not invite any distraction. And even when we were not distraction, we were called as a distraction. That became such a big part of my life that I find it very difficult to give calls to people and say, hi, how are you? So that's always been my issue, and it's got nothing to do with anyone else. Love you, Parul. Love you tons. Thank you for this talk today. And please take the stage. Go ahead. Thank you. What an apt topic, actually. What an apt change. This was such a requirement of today because of the suicide and stuff that's happened. Thank you.
Yes. Am I audible?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, ma'am, for such a beautiful introduction. And I'm so grateful and I'm so happy that you thought of me and you gave me a call. And anything for you always. So thank you so much. Uh, Hello, everyone. I'm Parul. And today I'm going to be talking about a topic which is very close to my heart. And especially in light of what has happened today and just in recent times, I think I hope that all of you find it relevant and you can connect it with your own lives. So as ma'am said, I'm a student and I'm currently pursuing masters in psychology. So today I'm going to be talking about existential psychology. So now just a little bit of history. Existential psychology has its sort of emerged at a time or from people who had a lot of struggle, who struggled a lot in their own personal lives. And that's how they embarked upon a journey to find meaning, that why did this happen with me, or what could I have done differently, or just in general about the like how we grapple with these concepts of what is meaning, what is freedom for me, what is responsibility, and even something as grave as talking about or even accepting the inevitability of death. So, just a little bit of history about these people. So, one of the major contributors to this field of psychology, like existential psychology, was a person who was a part of Nazi concentration camps. So he lost his whole family, he lost his first wife, his three children, and he was the only one to survive. So that sort of shaped everything in his life henceforth. And he got to thinking that, okay, why was I the only one to survive? And where do I go from here? What is the meaning of life if I've lost everyone I love? What is the purpose of my life? Similarly, another contributor was someone who had a lot of health issues and struggled for a majority of his life being on the bed and just not being well at all. So that really got him thinking that, okay, if I'm actually not able to do any physical labor or I'm not able to go out there and make my mark, why was I born? And that sort of gives us an idea about why the whole question of meaning of life came into place. And it's also, so the field has also this subfield of psychology has also got its inspiration from the ancient philosophers like Socrates and Aristotle. So now moving on to the four facets that I want to speak about today. The first is meaninglessness. So all of us strive to make meaning out of our lives. Like, why are we here, trying to find a purpose and linking it to everything that we do? And meaning making is something very, very different for each of us. So for a student who is pursuing their studies, for them, meaning making is what I can learn every day that I go to college. For a lady who's working three jobs to make ends meet and just getting that salary at the end of the month so that she can feed her children, that for her is meaning. And just the unfortunate incident that has happened today, where an actor who, as Tanya said, had everything, but yet it does not mean that he's not allowed to suffer. For him to, what else could have given his life meaning, or what led him to commit suicide, is something that we won't know. But all of us, no matter how rich, poor, whatever, or from whichever place, background we might be, it's something that we all try to achieve. It's something that we all struggle to find, because many of the times people who are in very, very established fields might just get up one day and say, no, this is not what I want. This might not be my calling. I'm not happy doing this. And they just leave. And then suddenly they embark upon another journey and they're like, oh, I can't believe I wasted the last 30 years of my life. So meaning making is different for everyone. It's very, very personal. It's very individual. And it's just something that I feel has been thrown under question, especially during these difficult times, because something that was giving your life meaning 3 months back might not hold true anymore. It might it might have shifted. It might have taken a turn for the better or for worse. You might have gotten your priorities in order, and there might have been a shift, because change is inevitable and we all grow, and that's just how life is. The second facet is under this existential psychology is isolation. So we all know that man is a social animal, and we've always, ever since the beginning, like early man times, we've been living in groups, and we've just sort of formed codependent, independent, parasitic relationships, any sort. Like, it can be very, very liberal, it can be very, very clingy, it can be anything. But we always want that. We want the company of other people. However, during these times, families have been put together under the same roof and you cannot run. And you are far apart from your friends whom maybe you used to meet every day. And while some people are very, very embracing of this change, because maybe they have always been comfortable being alone. So as we know that there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. Alone, you're just comfortable in your own space, and like introverts, they're comfortable on a rainy day sitting beside a window reading a good book, and they're very, very happy. They don't need, or they don't want, it's not even about a need, I would say. They don't want anyone else beside them to feel fulfilled, to give them that feeling of satisfaction that, okay, I'm okay because there is someone with me. However, there are many people who want the company of other people because of a variety of reasons. We are just fearful of being alone because we don't know that, oh, then what am I going to do? So it's like a spectrum, and we all struggle to find where we fit in, who are the people we want to be with, who are the people we cannot do without. So that has been thrown into question, because we're all sitting in our own homes, and even though we're connected by media, social media, and video calls and everything, but it's still that human touch is missing. And I think that that is what I would say therapy is built upon. Because even though you're not like touching your client, but you're in the same space, and the body language and just the feeling of embracing, the feeling of, okay, you're accepted, and you don't always have to say something. The job of a therapist is to convey something without saying anything. So isolation is again thrown into question, that how people are perceiving this lockdown, or just in general, because man is a social animal. So that, then the third facet, which I find very, very interesting, is freedom and responsibility. So life is a result of the choices we make. So it's up to us. So we've heard it many times, like just as these quotes go, what we read on the internet, what we read on the internet, or we just tell ourselves that you can be anything, and you can do any, and you can just go anywhere, do anything, don't give into the society and all of that. But do we really do that? Are we really, can we honestly say that my life is the result of my own personal choices and I own it proudly? We don't. Either papa nahi bola, society is like that, I have to do this, and because of financial constraints and because of this. But we are so we are caged, if not physically by society, in our own headspace. So even though freedom is something we all want, do we actively go out and get it? That no, I'm a free bird and I'm going to do whatever I want without taking into consideration anything else. Responsibility is another part of it, that so a bad workman blames his tools. So that's something that if my paper goes horribly wrong today, and the teacher said the paper wrong, it was very difficult, she's partial towards me. However, in my heart, I know that I did not study enough for it. Or one example that is very true, at least for like in my case, whenever overweight people talk about weight loss, it's very interesting to hear, because very, very few people would be open enough to admit, and without any disrespect to anybody, this example I'm giving, no disrespect to anyone, like these people would be like, oh, I live away from home, so I can't cook, I don't have the time, I'm so busy, I'm just so lazy. But to actually own up and say that no, I am not losing weight because I'm not exercising, because I'm not dieting. It's a choice, it's a conscious choice that I am making. However, oh, I have this disease, I have a back problem, I have everything in the world, but I don't want to say that, oh, it's a choice that I'm making, because it's just something that you don't want to acknowledge about yourself. That if something is going wrong in my life, it is also because of the choices I'm making, or the active choices that I'm not making. So if you want your life to change, you have to get up, make a choice to bring about that change, because nobody else is going to do that for you. So just that harmony in responsibility and freedom, where you go out, say that, okay, this is my life, I have chosen it, and I'm going to make the best of it. And then also owning up to your mistakes and just embarrassing things in life, that, okay, this was also my doing. So that's the third facet. And the last one is the inevitability of death. So the moment we are born and the moment we're gonna die, that is fixed. The middle is where you get to do what you want to do with your life. So, but this is a topic that is so difficult to speak about. People don't want to uh, accept is a lost cause. Even acknowledge the fact that you're mortal. You were born, and you were born from nothing, from non-being, and you are eventually going to merge back into that. To accept your own like mortality and say that, okay, I'm given like a limited time on earth and I'm going to make the best of it, people just don't want to talk about it. Like, even if we know that, okay, I'm going to die someday, we always struggle like one day after the other to make it happen. I think the most relevant example that I can think of is the migrant workers. Like, it's very sad to see them on the road and struggling so hard to survive. But this one person made this statement on television, and the migrant worker said that, I know that if I go to my hometown, if I travel, I am going to die of COVID. I might die of COVID, but if I stay here, I'm going to die of hunger. So I'm going to choose the lesser of the two evils. So that's a very heartbreaking statement. And it also makes us realize that human beings are so resilient that even though we know that, okay, that's going to happen, and that's a beautiful thing that we struggle to live. But the meaning making and everything, like the whole in between part between like birth and death, that is a chasm which we're just trying to fill, and we don't want to accept. So the whole point of this was not like that the human resilience is of course commendable, but like if I had to sum it up in an example, I would say that we love our parents, all of us love our parents, and the thing that we realize is that as we are growing old, they are also growing old. So even having that conversation with, like, if a child has to his or her parent and vice versa, that conversation that, see, I know that one day is going to come when you're not going to be with me, but I want you to know that you're leaving behind a very, very proud legacy, and I'm going to make you proud every single day of my life. Just to have that conversation is so, so difficult for people, or just accepting that, okay, limited number of days, let's make the best of it. So these four topics, I believe that, like, like our life revolves around them, but these are the most difficult to confront or accept, acknowledge, anything. Uh, so yeah, before I move on to the next topic, if anyone wants to add anything to it, have any comments,
Any
please do.
questions, guys? Anything that's coming up to your mind? You want to discuss something? Say something. You can put your hand up and on the Zoom, and we could take your question. Okay. Not really. No questions right now.
Okay, then
Wonderful.
moving on.
Yes.
The last thing that I want to talk about under this is existential crisis. So this is something that I find very, very interesting. So existential crisis refers to the moments when you feel that your life has no meaning, that it has lost all purpose, all sense. It's just this void. It's just this black hole that you cannot escape from, where you're just feeling that anything that I do, anything that I feel, it's just inconsequential. That feeling of feeling inconsequential. That is existential crisis, where you start to question everything that has happened so far in your life. What has happened? Why am I here? Where do I go from here? Even something as basic as that, that feeling like in a dark room and you just don't know where the light is. So I feel that this pandemic has also sort of made us question what were we, running towards, what were we running away from. So all of that in general. So, and I've spoken to like a couple of people, my friends, that who are really in a bad space right now, because everything that they were working hard towards, everything that they were running towards, it's like that. So you're running in a race, and it's like the finish line has shifted. It's not even there anymore. So it's gone either way, like far, or it's just been removed. So now you're lost, and you're like, okay, I just ran like a 500-meter race without having that closure or that feeling of accomplishment, that okay, all this effort was for something. It made sense. It gave me like some sense of completion, satisfaction. It's just like that has been snatched away. So I feel existential crisis is also very, very relevant today, because it's making people question that, okay, so I had a very successful business and had lots of money coming in, and I had two shops here and one shop there and everything, and now suddenly everything is closed. So now you don't know what to do with that, and how to like pick yourself up, dust off all the negativity and depression and just this feeling of worthlessness, or this feeling of being lost, and again try to build yourself up. So it's just been like a very tormenting introspection, I would say, because you're facing things that you don't really want to face, but you also know that to come out of this, you are going to have to deal with that. So just if anybody wants to share something about this existential crisis, or if they've ever had it in their life, because it can be triggered off by if any like mental disorder, or if you're struggling with some other problem, but it can also be triggered off by some like trauma or some sudden shock. And this has definitely been that. This is the first time people have been confined to their homes without their consent. Like you have to stay home and there's nothing you can do about it. So so if anyone wants to share.
I like to share here and
Yes,
take
ma'am.
the lead so that others can then follow. I will quote an example that my mother used to give me when I was very little, Parul. She would sit with me and say, tell me stories. And interestingly, I remember the stories. I think stories play a very important role in our life. We
Yeah.
must tell children our story, but we should also know what stories we are telling our children. Now, my mom would quote the story of Alexander the Great. And she said, Alexander the Great had won all the fights, wars, and he lost one single war. One single war. He felt he didn't feel compatible after that. He was sitting down, feeling very, 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 very lost. And there was a wet wall, and there was this ant, a little ant walking up the wall. And he's sitting down and counting. He's looking at that ant, it's going up, and then it fell down. And then again the wet wall, the ant didn't give up, so it climbed up the second time. It fell down. The ant didn't give up. It climbed the third time. It fell down. It climbed the 20th time. It fell down. Climbed the 30th time. It still fell down. And Alexander couldn't take his eyes off that ant. Now it had climbed the 50th time and it again fell down. And Alexander was going sad and more sad. And what's interesting, it went 98 times and it still fell down. It went 99th time and fell down. It went the 100th time and it climbed up. And Alexander said to himself, I won 100 wars. I lost one. She lost 100 wars and climbed the last one. I have a chance. He got up and went and fought the war and he won. It's about not giving up. It's about being consistent. It's about being that little ant. It's about not letting your ego come in between. And I think that's what you were trying to explain, that it's about continuously doing and finding another way, another way, another way, another way. Just because there is a lockdown and everything seems so lost right now and you don't have a meaning in your life, that does not mean that you kill yourself. It means you're allowed to get tired, but you're allowed to get tired of your family members because you're in the lockdown with people who you hate. You're allowed to give them gali. You're allowed to even sit down and say, ye mar jaye. But you're not allowed to kill anyone or kill yourself. That's what I think. Others, guys, sharing. सब सो गए हैं क्या? Hey guys, nothing to share today?
We are listening to you, Nutan here.
Yes, Nutan. Anything to share, Nutan? Anybody else?
After,
Yes.
yes, I can resonate with what you just said. Today we had like wonderful fight. After that, we three of us, my son, my husband, we three sat together and cried a lot. We were like, oh, that's okay. This is lockdown. This can happen, so it's okay. Let's restart. So this was like part of our frustration. My husband, our classes has they're closed because of schools are closed. So he has got like he's trying to do some online work, but it is not working. So he's under frustration and stress. I'm doing some little bit of work, and that is also working. But then other expenses are so much that we could not manage all that. So all the stress, it got just burst out, and it was like hell. But then that's okay. We somehow we got what we wanted. And then
I'm
again we
so
started.
proud of you, Nutan, for sharing that. I'm so proud of you. Like I said, you're allowed to fight. You're allowed to want to murder each other. You're allowed to say, I will kill you, but you're not allowed to kill anyone and kill yourself. Rest,
Seriously,
rest,
thank you so much.
go stand under the water, and then start the next day again. It will look so good to you. Because you know what? People you love are still alive and are there with you to fight. There are families today who are losing family members who they will do anything and give anything to even have that one fight with them. Anything to give, even go and have a fight with them. They're not even there to have a fight with them, and their life is lost a meaning because they don't have anyone to have a fight with them. Anybody else wants to share as honestly as Nutan did? I love that. I love honesty. Anybody
Thank
else wants to share?
you. Love you.
Love-
Anu, I'm sharing.
Please go ahead, Aarti.
So I was just getting irritated on my husband for no reason. I don't know for what I was irritated. And then he's like, "Why are you fighting with me today?" I said, "I'm just irritated. So just don't take any panga from me today." And then after some time, I just realized it's just that being at home is just killing me, kind of thing. I'm now getting irritated being at home. And it's just the frustration is coming out on him.
Absolutely.
After that, I was at peace after some time, after venting it out on him. I think I needed, he was my pillow today.
Very good. So imagine there are people who are losing people who that they don't even have pillow. And I've said this twice today because in our building there has been a death. The death was of a celebrity, and I didn't even know that he stayed here as a celebrity. There was a young 46-year-old who met with an accident today morning, and he was on his motorbike. He has a young wife and 2 children, and he's no more. I've never met him, but my dog and his dog were friends. When you go down for walk, you know each other. And that one family cannot fight with each other, does not have anybody to make anybody a venting pillow. You cannot even fight when people are not there. So I'm very thankful for whatever is going on. And thank you, Aarti. I love your sharing. बहुत सारे लोग हैं आज who are more frustrated because when you go out, there is nothing to see other than masked faces. And it's scary outside because people are just losing it. They're losing it, absolutely. And you come back home, there is nothing to see. And there is loads of work from every corner. Anybody else wants to share? Yes, Kiran, you want to share? Go ahead. I can't hear you. Unmute yourself, please. Kiran, unmute yourself.
Yeah, I've done it. Yeah. Okay, Parul, I just want to say about the lockdown now. For us, it is because it was combined with the Ramzan. We had the Rozas also, 30 days, self-discipline. So the lockdown, I believe that I just want to take it on a positive note that it isn't only about being prepared for the future. देखो पता नहीं आगे क्या होगा. It is about self-realization, and which even we have done, that we can actually do without so many other things. Otherwise, when these things were not there, when the lockdown was not there, if the Amazon delivery guy has not come in today, as it was, as been, I got the notification, frantically call up to their customer care center. But today we know we could live without Amazon for 3 months. Today we realize we can do without the ice cream at night. We can do without so many other things. We can do without impulsive shopping, buying extra things. We can survive on vegetables. Like I'm a fish eater. I've survived for this last 3.5 months on vegetables and no harm. So we can survive without so many things. It is a self-realization that so many things were there that we didn't need actually. We can do without that.
Yeah,
Isn't
very
it?
true. Yes.
Isn't it? Thank you.
The reason why I chose to speak about these 4 things, like this branch of psychology, was because it's not about taking it in a negative manner, but it's more about that the minute you start talking about what's real, what's important. And this is something that is inevitably there. It's not something that is an abstract concept or it has no relevance in our lives. But it's like when you talk about these things, or, it's like exploring yourself, the world around you. It's like one by one, those blockages fall, they shift, and you evolve and grow as a person. It's about taking your own journey and moving forward and just speaking about things that are real, exploring the world, and finding out what works for you, what doesn't, and where you want to be eventually. Living in the present and being very much aware about that this is a reality, all these things are there, and taking control and just having that agency to bring about a shift in your life and accepting things for the way they are, not giving up, but also not running away from the truth.
So beautifully explained, Parul. So beautifully explained. I'm so proud of you. And the people have written over here. Please go on the chat and have a look. Poonam has said beautifully explained. I loved it. The compassion to understand human psychology at such a young age. It's commendable. Well said,
Thank you
Parul.
so
I
much.
love the way you said about the race and the finish line. Very well done.
Thank you so
I
much.
really thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing what you did today. And if you have anything else to say to people before we say goodbye, to
Yes,
all the
yes, just something that I thought that we could all do, bringing in EFT, emotional freedom technique, which I think a lot of you already know. Thank you so much to, like, all thanks to ma'am. Just these two statements that I thought we could, all of us just like say it like a couple of times, just 2-3 times, two statements, so that you can modify it according to if it works for you. Because there's this quote that I read in a children's book that says that you cannot control your parentage, but you can choose your legacy. So just something that I found it to be very powerful. So if everyone can unmute yourself and just we can say these statements just to bring in about positivity so that it stays with us. Is that okay, ma'am?
Absolutely. All of you unmute yourself.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm never truly alone
I'm never truly alone
because I have myself,
because I have myself,
and that is enough.
And
And
that
that is enough.
Wow.
Is it okay? Is it resonating? So that we could tap?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
I'm never truly alone
I'm never truly alone.
I'm never truly alone
because I have myself,
Because I
because I
have
have myself,
and that is enough.
and that is
and
enough.
that is enough.
I'm never truly alone
I'm never
I'm never
truly alone
truly alone
because I have myself,
because
I have myself,
and that is enough.
and that
and that is enough.
I am blessed with a beautiful life,
I'm
I'm
blessed
blessed with a beautiful life,
and I'm going to make the most of it.
and I'm going to make the most of it.
I'm blessed with a beautiful life,
I'm blessed
I'm blessed with beautiful life,
and I'm going to make the most of it.
and I'm going
And
to
I'm going to make the most of it.
I'm blessed with a beautiful life,
I'm blessed
I'm blessed with a beautiful life,
and I am going to make the most of it.
I
and
am.
I'm going to make the most of it.
Thank you.
Thank you
you.
so much. I'm going to mute everyone. Parul, you can unmute yourself again. Okay, guys, wasn't that beautiful? This is the lady who said, "Oh, how will I talk?" I said, "You have no idea."
But
I'm
no, thank you, ma'am. Thank you for this incredible opportunity.
I'm very proud of you, Parul. You make
Thank
me so proud, so happy today.
Thank you, ma'am.
Many more for you to come, and inshallah,
Yes,
और
hopefully.
करे कि आप सब जगह पहुंचो जहां आपकी जिंदगी और आपकी चाहत है.
शुक्रिया मैम. Hopefully हम वो सारी जगहों पे साथ पहुंचे.
हाँ चलेंगे ना. With this lockdown open, and let's then go for a chutti together, guys. I'm tired of sitting down with the mask on my face. I just thought about it today. It's strange. So far we were only covering our body. Now we cover our face.
Yeah.
The only part left is the vision. आंखों से देखो, कानों से सुनो, बाकी बुरा मत बोलो, बुरा मत कहो, बुरा मत करो, कुछ मत करो. Don't smell anything wrong, don't talk anything, don't taste. Just your three senses are allowed to function. See, observe, hear, and retain that whatever you've heard inside you, because there's a mask on the face, you can't talk. You can, but most of the people have to pull that down to talk properly. So I was really, really surprised. The other thought that came to my mind today was that we are all roaming around ourselves like a little earth. Like this, we are rotating around ourselves like a little earth. 24 hours we are doing this. The earth takes to rotate around itself 24 hours. And then we've created something that gives meaning to our life as the sun in the middle, around which we are going 365 days. It's just that right now, you don't know. You have to change your focus and understand that खुद को जब तक तुम खुदा नहीं बनाओगे तो तुम एक कदम भी चल नहीं पाओगे. बिकॉज क्या है ना, आप सारी जिंदगी लोगों को खुश करने में और दूसरों को अपना सूरज और चांद बनाने में लग गए हो. खुद को तो आपने देखा ही नहीं. अपने दिमाग के अंदर ही 24 घंटे घूमते जा रहे हो. ये घूमना बंद करें और अपने आप को संभालें. आप बहुत प्रेशियस हैं. Each one of this forum and everybody who's hearing me today, you're very precious. मरने से पहले एक बात सोच लेना. If you're going there out to give your life, please donate your body at least, because तुम्हारे मरने के बाद तुम्हारी बॉडी भी किसी के काम नहीं आएगी. Please, you have heart, kidney, skin, everything can be used by another human being. We are a recyclable shop. Every bit of us, when we are alive, is useful. When you will die is useful. Even after your death, your ideas will be useful. You were never dead. You cannot die so easily. So don't go and take your life. Thank you so much. Over to the next speaker. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, Parul, once again.
Thank you, ma'am.